Hello and welcome to Focus on Education. I'm Laura McLean. I'm the Vice Chair of the School Board, and I have two wonderful guests with me today. I have Miss Sarah Dill and John Purtill. Sarah is the music teacher at Glenwood, and John is the art teacher there. And today I wanted to talk about music and art in our elementary schools, and I know many of us have seen some of their work, but I wanted to get some more details on it. So first, guys, I want to just get a little background about you, where you went to school, your family, where you're from, that kind of stuff. So Sarah, we'll start with you.
Okay, I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee. I went to Sunnyview Elementary and graduated from Carter High School. And then I chose to do my degree at Carson Newman University, so in music education.
Great, okay. John, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm a West Coast kid. I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I moved to Knoxville in 2009 to get my master's in fine arts. And I moved around a little bit more and sort of bounced back here from Brooklyn, New York to get my teaching degree in 2015.
Yeah, that's fine.
Losing track of years,
Yeah.
But it's the first place I've moved to and then returned to, so I like it an awful lot.
That's great. So it sounds like you've been all over. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah. So Sarah, how long have you taught at Glenwood?
This is my 6th year at Glenwood and my 6th year period.
Great. And what about you, John?
It's my 3rd year at Glenwood, and with elementary school in general. I've taught at a college level before, but I'm brand new to the
little
youngins.
kids.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so tell me why you wanted to be a teacher. We'll start with you this time.
Oh,
You know?
sure. Yeah, so my kind of credo that I revise every year is I try to be the teacher that I really needed when I was a kid. I was a middling student and constant behavior problem until I sort of found a teacher who allowed me to kind of connect to education through art, which is how I process information and get interested in things, and that's what I try to do, I think.
That's cool. All right, what about you, Sarah?
I love school. I grew up loving it. I was that kid that woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning with their school clothes on, just excited to go. And I didn't really realize until middle school, when I was in chorus and ensemble, that music was a big passion. So this was just really a way to combine the two into a lifelong love that I hope to have forever.
That's great. Well, I think elementary school is such a neat time to have art and music, to introduce those things that kids have at home, and then make it a school subject. And like you said, I think for some kids they aren't good in maybe math and science, but they could be good at art or at music, and that gives them a good feeling of success. And I think that's an important thing for every child to be successful in school, and we know some are better at some subjects than others, and so I think it's a really important thing to have, especially in elementary school. But good. So talk to me about the education standards for art or music in elementary school, and what are their requirements, or are there requirements?
Yeah, so we share sort of overarching standards. We share kind of big domains. The specifics change according to subjects, but we deal with creating, performing, connecting, and responding. And I think the way that I structure that within my class is that I talk about how we need to sort of approach school art like professional artists, and professional artists don't just create a product. They plan and they revise and they seek feedback from their peers and from their mentors, and they sort of follow their whatever particular subcultural interests. Acting like an artist, I think, sort of fits within the standards as I try to follow them, and it keeps my evaluation and my grading from being a sort of subjective thing of, is this student a competent draftsperson? I don't think that's a particularly interesting way to evaluate art. Oh.
Good. All right. Tell me a little bit about the music standards.
Okay, so like John said, we have these overarching domains for all fine arts. The national standards were just updated, and we're in year 2 of their actual practice. But for general music, there are 11 basic standards that scaffold up through kindergarten all the way to 4th grade in elementary, that just grow upon each other. They start with very basic skills and how to refine them and create meaningful music experiences that help them grow in these different aspects. So it's really cool to watch what you've planted a seed in kindergarten, and then in 4th grade they can compose things and write their own songs, or play a piano piece that they've worked on for 2 years and it's finally clicked. So especially in music, it's a scaffold. They grow on each prior experience to a level of musicalness, I guess, to where they can be brought into middle school, and the middle school teachers can pick up where we left off.
Cool. So I know at Glenwood there's a lab, a keyboard lab. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so we have a Yamaha piano lab. It has 25 keyboards in it, and I teach my 3rd and 4th grade piano basics and advanced piano 1. So for an elementary school to have that is amazing. I've never heard of another elementary school that I'm aware of that has that, and we're very blessed to have it. But I was absolutely petrified of it when I was hired, and they said, oh, by the way, you're going to teach piano, and I panicked because I'm a vocalist. But the kids love it. It's something that they look forward to from kindergarten, because they know, oh, when I get in 3rd grade, I'm going to be able to play this wonderful instrument, and I need to make sure that I'm learning my notes on the staff so I can play this wonderful instrument. So it's a really good motivating tool, and it's just awesome.
Cool. I think the PTA paid for some of those pianos a long time ago, but I think that's neat. So I was wondering if you could kind of tell me about the structure of your day, like how many classes do you teach, about how many kids are in your classes, just to kind of give us an idea of what the art and music requirements or what the offerings are in an elementary school. So you could start, John.
Yeah, sure. So we see every grade every day. My classes are an hour long, just because setup and cleanup requires a certain amount of time. There's a lot of sort of production that has to take place, but yeah, we're on a 1-week rotation, so I see my kids once a week. And what else is there to it?
So you would see like Mrs. Smith's kindergarten class on Monday morning, every Monday morning, and you know, Mr. Jones's 4th grade class every Tuesday afternoon or something.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then classes are, I think our smallest ones are 16 to 18. Our largest ones are 25. So that seems to be the kind of the average range.
Okay. And music is the same?
Not exactly.
Okay. All right.
I do see them for an hour, but I see them twice a week for 30 minutes. So I actually have 9 classes a day. So except for Wednesday, because it's our early dismissal, I will have only 6. But I see them twice a week for 30 minutes. And like John said, we see every student in the school. So right now our enrollment's right at 400. So we're teaching 400 kiddos twice a week.
So do you know everyone's name?
Yes.
That is impressive.
We also do the driveway, so we know every kid and every car and every name. It's kind of fun that way.
Okay, so that's another job aspect is you're out opening doors and putting kids in cars and getting them out of cars.
Sarah trains the kids to do that. I'm on my little radio calling names.
Yeah, and I do safety patrol. So he's on one end calling the cars, and I'm on the end where they actually get picked up. with my safety patrol kiddos.
Okay, so you're not just doing art and music, you're doing a lot of other things kind of as needed basis.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's neat. Okay, so what are there other extra duties outside of your curriculum that you do that you can think of off the top of your head?
That don't have to necessarily do with our like our art.
Yeah. Yes.
We both do dismissal duty. I am our team leader for our special area team. John has been on the hiring committee for our newest principal that we got. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we help out with all kinds of after school events. Like we do a STEM night, we do a Santa night closer to Christmas. John does an art show at the end of the year. We help out a lot. We try to, just to keep our building and our kiddos thriving in that environment that we foster. So we help out a lot.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
And it's not sort of just within our school. Both of us sort of collaborate with the teachers from our subject area teachers from the other elementary schools and middle school and high school. We try to sort of vertically integrate our lessons so that, we know what they're doing in high school so that we can sort of plan,
That's great.
8 years ahead or whatever. So the other art teachers and I put on, I believe, 2 or 3 art shows per year. We do our own for Glenwood, but we also have a district-wide one at the Oak Ridge Children's Museum. The middle and high school does one at the KMA in Knoxville, and the Da Vinci Arts Fair as well as another thing. There's a lot of collaboration, sort of both within and outside of the building.
Well, and one of your murals that you did with first grade is at the ORNL bank here.
Yes, I've seen it in that picnic area.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. Okay, well, let's take a little break, and then we'll come back and talk about how you're able to integrate the classroom subject into your art and music classes, and how you're able to work together with the classroom teachers to kind of make the classroom subject come to life in the arts. So we'll take a little break and we'll come right back. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to Focus on Ed. Today my guests are Miss Sarah Dill and John Purtill, our music and art teacher at Glenwood, and we've been talking about the arts in elementary. And so I wanted to talk to you about how you're able to work with the classroom teacher to integrate what they're learning or what they're teaching the kids into your music and then your art classes, because I think that's a really neat thing to be able to take a subject that may not be that exciting and turn it into something more exciting in your classrooms. So Sarah, why don't you start?
Okay. I really enjoy when I get to bring two worlds together. I wouldn't say I do it all the time. I try to keep it purposeful and successful for the kids.
Right.
Literacy is a really big thing that I do in my room. I love interactive read-alouds, and a lot of great authors have written these books that are music related, and it's easy to tie in. But this year I'm actually trying something new, and I'm really excited and a little nervous about it. Our third grade team is doing something for our school's living museum, and they are focusing on the Titanic and its journey and its tragedy. So they are going to actually portray characters that lived or passed away during that event. And the third grade teachers have asked me if there is a way that we could tie our musical into it. So we're trying to work together to come up with a way to maybe write a script based on the characters and come up with songs that could tie it all in. And I'm just really excited for this outcome. We're still in the brainstorming stages of it, but that's my big cross-curricular connection for this year.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'll
let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
I want to come and see that.
It's in February.
In February.
Yes.
So you've got some time to pull it together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, John, tell us about some of the things that you're able to do?
Yeah. Well, I kind of think that if I'm doing my job, that art should be sort of naturally cross-curricular, because artists don't make art just about art. They make art about history. They make art about science. They make art about social relationships, social activism, sort of anything that I think is being taught in classrooms. There's probably a contemporary professional artist making art about that specific subject. And how that tends to sort of work logistically is that we try to stay pretty on top of what classroom teachers are teaching. And if there's a particular unit or a particular lesson plan that lends itself well to sort of an art project, we'll mesh and work together. I've in the past also been involved with the Living Museum. My first graders made a sort of scale map of Tennessee with clay.
That's awesome.
And sort of, had to find Oak Ridge given a sort of landform, or had to sort of chart rivers next to Nashville and Memphis. And it's been a real treat, and it also excites the classroom teachers. We like to keep them happy.
Oh yeah. Well, that's cool, because that takes an art project and that throws in the classroom, what the classroom is doing, and then geography and social studies, and so that's exciting. And I'm sure the classroom teachers appreciate you reinforcing what they're teaching, because I think their job isn't easy, and I'm sure any help that you can give helps them. So, Sarah, tell me, you mentioned the pianos, that the kids do that in third grade, third and fourth grade. So, are there instruments that are kindergarten instruments versus, I don't know. Yeah. Tell me about specific things that you would do with a kindergarten class or a first grade class, and then a fourth grade, kind of the progression.
So kindergarten, they're so tiny. They're tiny humans, and I'm just trying to introduce them to my space in my room and get them gently used to all that's around them. So we basically start with really simple instruments: rhythm sticks, hand drums, wood blocks, sand blocks. Something that's simple and easy to grasp, because some of them are still working on fine motor, and it's difficult to, I've got to hold a triangle and a mallet. But simple instruments, especially rhythm sticks and drums, are super easy for beginning kindergartners to come in and just pick up. After Christmas, we'll start graduating to more difficult instruments like güiros or maracas or tambourines, things that rattle, that don't have a one and done type of sound.
Okay.
So, and
What's a güiro?
a güiro,
Yeah.
it's really difficult. They're typically from Mexico, and they are made of wood, and they have ridges, and they have 2 holes in the bottom.
Okay.
And you hold them. That's why I was putting my hand like that. I was holding one imaginatively. But you hold it in one hand, and you have a wooden stick that you
Gotcha.
string.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, most people don't know how to know what that is.
Yeah.
So, but as the grade levels increase, the difficulty of instruments increase. So we'll start adding some malleted drums in first grade, some boom whackers, some, I know. They're pitched pieces of tubing that are pitched like a piano. So you can strike them against the floor, and it has a C. It says a C. So you can walk over to the piano, and it'll play a C just like a piano.
Okay.
So, and we'll start incorporating xylophones and metallophones, and just working their way up to those more complicated instruments like recorder in third grade and piano in 3 and 4.
So everyone plays a recorder in third grade?
Yes.
I remember the recorder in third grade. It was painful sometimes.
Parents are always like, "Oh, you're my favorite. Thank you so much for sending this torture device home with my child."
Yeah.
But I try my best to make sure that they are well prepared for when they bring it home. So it's not just, this is a bunch of noise. It's, they're actually reading music and sequencing across the page and reading this piece as they play it. So I hope that's what they're doing. Fingers crossed. We started recorder this week, so
So that's third grade?
Third grade starts your quarter, yes.
Okay.
And it's an 8-week unit. We should be done right before Christmas.
So you said you see the kids twice a week. You only see the kids once a week, but I would imagine it takes a while to get everybody going and then
Correct,
to
yeah.
clean up
Correct,
after. So that's the reason your class is 30-minute class and yours is an hour class.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So talk to me about the different mediums that you use for different age kids.
I try to have everyone I try to have my kindergartners using the same mediums as my fourth graders, because I think it's important to really sort of build skills gradually. We draw, we paint, we do clay, we do printmaking, we use any sort of drawing mediums like charcoal, oil pastels, chalk pastels. I try to run the gamut of anything that I can feasibly teach in elementary school. Not so much power tools or welding, but not yet anyway.
Not yet anyway. That's neat. Well, you had mentioned earlier that you work with teachers in middle school and high school, and I think that's so neat because transitions are, for parents anyway, transitions are hard, and I think anytime you can make those transitions easier for the kids and the parents,
Certainly.
That's a really good thing, and it makes it easier for the kids. And I know the transition from elementary to middle is it's
terrifying, probably.
Yeah. So I think that's a really neat thing. I didn't realize that you did that. So that's cool. So do you have a favorite medium that you work with?
Yeah, in my own practice, I'm mostly a drawer and a painter, but I've found that I really enjoy and the kids really enjoy both printmaking and sculpture. I think mostly because it's something that they might not have access to at home. Most kids draw or paint at home, but they probably don't have a kiln or a printing press. And it's also, I think a lot of my kids have sort of found a certain amount of skill level when they're dealing with clay rather than the fine motor that's required of drafting materials. Okay. And that's when they realize, like, I can make art. This is really exciting because it's a little more kinesthetic. You have to use your bicep if you're sort of doing hand building. You have to use your shoulder if you're throwing a slab. So there's a lot more sort of just physical activity involved in it. So a lot of kids don't realize what they can make until they get involved with that. So it's a real treat to see, sparks going off.
To see that,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's exciting to see the kid tune into a specific medium that they really, like, or a specific instrument that they really like. So, Sarah, tell me, I know that each grade puts on a production every year. Tell me about what each of those are and what time of year they are.
So, I do 5 different programs a year. Just before fall break, we did kindergarten and first grade. First grade did one called E-I-E-I Oops, and it's a spoof off of Old MacDonald's farm, and the cow refused to moo. So that's what the whole story was about. Kindergarten did a at the farm scene themed program that was, you could be tied in with first grades, but it wasn't identical. And it was so early in the year that we needed to make it as simple as possible for these kinders, just to make sure that they could do it. But those two they went off well. Second grade always does Christmas. I've done tons of different programs in the past, from the Grinch to Charlie Brown to this year we're doing the Nutcracker. And then third grade is in the spring, and its theme changes every year depending on what kind of kiddos I have. And fourth grade is our finale. It's their cumulative time at Glenwood. It's their last program, and I try to give them some leeway to pick at least 1 or 2 songs for their program, and I tailor their script specific to them. I write it myself, so it's always a tearjerker. But it's usually really fun. So they're my favorite part of my job. The musicals are.
Well, I know that you have all kinds of parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and neighbors and people that come to those, and it's a really good way to show off the school and let the kids perform. And I know in art, you mentioned that you do the art shows, and I think that's a really neat thing to get the kids involved in showing off a talent that they have.
Yeah, well, and also just to get them into a gallery or into a museum. Some of our kids are very, they have parents who are very active in the arts and take them to those things. Some of our kids have never been to one before and might never go to one again. So I think it's important for us to,
offer those
as much as we can.
opportunities.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, this has just been such a interesting conversation, and I've learned a lot from both of you about what's going on at Glenwood and the exciting things that you're doing. And we're so grateful to you for coming and for sharing all of your great things that you're doing with our kids. So thank you very much. That will be the end of our Focus on Ed. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.